Hi everyone, it is time to do another picture from this page in Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford. We've done the top 3 as you can see, and we are going to do this cute little snail today. We're using the Castle Arts Gold pencils. You can follow along in any pencils if you want to follow along. Now I have done some comparison charts, so you may be able to find an equivalent excuse me, an equivalent colour in a set that you have. The links to the charts are in the video description. Let's get going now. We have this first snail here. Now last time I did a slightly grey snail. I want to do the same thing this time. I'm going to do it slightly differently though. I'm trying to make them all a little bit different from each other. So here is my graphite light. I'm going to use this first. I'm going to do this sort of, I've just realised my pencil sharpener's next door. This antenna. It's funny, that one's really thin. Anyway, and I'm just going to roughly, well not roughly, but colour the main part of the body with a circular motion. In fact, I'm going to do all of it with this, and then I'm going to use a darker colour to do these bits in a minute. It's a very grey day here today, raining and sort of dull. I went out this morning and I had to go and pick up a prescription, excuse me, and it got a little wet. I'm just choosing my next colour, Paynes grey. I need a sharpener. I'm going to have to get one, hang on. Right, I am back. I emptied it a little bit as well. Just sharpening up, there we go. So here is our Paynes grey. Now I'm going to put a little bit of shadow under the shell here. It might not be massively visible, but I don't want it to look too dark. There we go, just a tad. And then each of these little sections, I'm just going to go around the edge in this darker colour and just sort of fade it towards the centre, just to make them stand out. They've been drawn there for a reason. Let's make them stand out a little bit. Like that. Yeah, I went to town and it was raining a little bit, and then it suddenly started absolutely pouring. I couldn't tell if it, I don't think it was hailstones, but it was really heavy. It was sort of big rain. I just realised how silly that sounded when I said it. It was like I could see it jumping up off the ground. They were really big raindrops. And I did put my hat up because I felt a bit vulnerable. It was like, ooh, huge rain. But it was fine. As I went out, I said to my son, it's raining. And he went, are you made of sugar? Apparently there's this, I'm just going to grab the terracotta light. I think it's quite a nice light bright colour for these sort of teardrop shapes. Apparently he says there's this German, it's a German saying, so when people say they, you know, it's raining, they just say you're made of sugar. Are you going to dissolve in the rain? I'm going to do the same thing as I did here. So around the edge of each one with a few more layers, and then a bit less in the middle, like that. And we're just going to go around. So yeah, my husband's actually got the next week off work. That's going to be interesting. He's actually been more relaxed this week, which has been really nice. He's changed jobs basically, and he was a little bit worried about finding something else, but he's found some other projects which will keep him going until the new financial year, which things are all changing a little bit anyway. I think there's a new contract starting that he's going to probably be working on anyway. So he's got a lot of holiday to use up as well before the end of financial year. It's getting so bright. Anyway, distracted by the fact there's brightness coming through the window. So he's been more relaxed, which is nice, and I'm hoping it'll be an opportunity for him to think a little bit more about his lifestyle. He's made some changes, so I'm really pleased. Because of his ADHD, he finds it very difficult to stick to things, you know, so he's made himself a little exercise chart, and he's doing a little bit of exercise each day, not much at the minute, just building up, and that's okay. I'm happy with that, because obviously going all in one go when you're our age, you know, is very not sensible, because you probably just get an injury. So he's just doing a little bit. He's also been talking about maybe having a little walk along the canal. He finds it's not good with walking, but it's quite close to the house and you have to go far, and I think there's some really lovely wildlife. I was talking about it in another video where we'd seen the otter and the mandarin ducks and things like that, so there's some really lovely things to go and see. So I think that is motivating, you know, and he's got a newish camera, so he could go and take some photos, and just getting out and about I think would be lovely. So there's that plan. And we might go to our favourite wetlands, but it depends a little bit, because the boys are at uni, they're not home, so it sort of depends on what they're up to, but that's okay. There's an exhibition at the museum that we want to go to, so that I think there's one in town that he wants to go to as well. So I'm hoping, you know, even if we just drive and park and then walk, it's something, you know. It's just, he's also bought a new book about CBT and IBS to try and help himself a little bit. I'm going to have a read of it as well, partly because I think it's good, if I'm trying to support him in whatever he might be doing, for me to have an understanding of what it is, you know, because I don't really know much about CBT. And also I'm prone to a little bit of IBS from time to time, not too much. I've been diagnosed with it, but fortunately it's not debilitating in the same way. Since I changed up my diet, I can manage it really well, so I know I'm very lucky. Now I'm thinking I'm just trying to use a different colour for the other part of the shell, making sure that I don't pick one that I used for the last snail. What did we use? Brown ochre permanent, yeah. Now I'm going to use redwood, so it's a different colour. I was just looking on my, I'd written down what I'd used. So I'm going to just put a light layer. I haven't quite decided what I'm doing here. So we'll just start with a light layer. Now how did I choose? Someone was asking me on a YouTube comment how I picked the colours. How have I decided to go for like yellow and orangey brown? Well, I did try and explain it. It's really hard to explain in some ways. Firstly, if I was really unsure of what colour to do this snail, like I was with the frog, I looked up, I'm just going to do a darker bit around the pattern. I looked up a picture of of some frogs to sort of get some inspiration for colours. So that's one thing you can do. And I just always do snail shells, usually in sort of browns. So that made this a little bit easier, but I didn't want to make it just the way I always do it. So I picked a few colours that were slightly different to what I normally use. There we go, and I'm going to put a darker bit there. So that is partly it. I'll try and help you more as I go. So my thought pattern. So we've now got these florals. My background is going to be blue, like the others. I'm going to do all the backgrounds blue because they're all sort of nighttime, but I want them all to match-ish, you know, look consistent. So I need to think, so I can't do these as bluebells, which is what they look like and how I would normally colour them. So I need a different colour. So I need to think blue background. I'm going to have some greenery. We've got our sort of orangey browns here, so what's going to match? Now a yellow would match, but the stars will be yellow, so that's okay. Orange might work quite well, red would work, but things like pink and purple, they're sort of clash with orange, which sometimes can look quite effective, but that's not the effect I want now. I want it to sort of blend together as a colour scheme. So I'm going to turn to my reds and oranges and just have a look at what I've got. Look at my swatch chart. Now we've got a marigold, which is a lighter orange. We've got the cadmium orange deep. And then we've got a red ochre, which is more of a... But the reds are quite pinky in this set. So that's made my decision for me. It's going to be orange. And I'm going to use the marigold just because I don't want to go too dark too fast, in case I want to make some areas darker. Okay, so let's sharpen that marigold and do these florals. And I don't know why I fade towards the bottom. It doesn't actually make any sense, because I'm sort of assuming the light would come from above, and if it was, then the light would be catching the top of the flowers, so they should be lighter at the top. But I just like them lighter at the bottom. I personally just like that look for this particular type of flower. And sometimes there's no reason. You know, if you like something, you can't always say why. It's like, you know, do you prefer raspberry or strawberry jam? You know, well, I do actually have a reason why I prefer strawberry, and that's because raspberry jam always has pips in. But normally it's like, well, it just tastes better to me, but it might not to you. You know, it's not always easy to explain some reasons. Now the greenery, I want something that's going to go with the orange. Now I know that olive greens, yellowy greens, they go with orange. Bluey greens don't, so we're going to avoid those. So we have quite a few different greens. I've used quite a few of them already. I might try and do something I haven't used before, just because why not. But I can't remember what I've used, so I'm going to use the cadmium green pale because I really like it, and it's a sort of, I think it's a colour that's going to match well. Okay. We're going to do these little bits first and just block them in because they're so teeny weeny. And then each of these, I'm going to try and fade to the tip like I did with the flowers. I can hear some noise outside. What day is it? Thursday. Yes, it could be the volunteers on the canal. They've got the big sort of dredging machine near us. There's one that skims the surface and gets the weeds off, and then there's another one with the big what's the word, like grabbers, buckets. They come together like that, so they dig down and pull up the mud and pull it out of the bottom of the canal. I don't know what they're called. There is a name, but it's beyond me. Right, so I need a yellow for my stars, and I'm looking through my yellows. I want something that's quite bright, so I'm avoiding the Tuscan yellow light, Naples yellow light, golden yellow, primrose yellow. They're all very pale and creamy, and I don't want anything too orangey or browny, so because we've got a lot of that going on already. So the lemon yellow is going to be the one that works for me. Now the background is going to be a bit of a trickier decision. I've been using dark blues because I think it's night time, but we've used them all. The dark blues are the indigo light, the ultramarine, and the cobalt blue deep. Now I could go lighter, or I could repeat one that I've used already, and I've decided that I'm going to repeat one that I've used already. So I'm going to use the one I used last time, which is the cobalt blue deep. Just because it's quite far away from that particular picture. So there we go, cobalt blue deep, and we're just gonna put it in the background quite lightly. I don't mind lots of white paper showing through. So I had a lot of post today. I went out, I had to wait for my son to get up before I could go out because we were expecting deliveries. My husband gets a bit worried if we're not in. It's okay if it depends who the delivery company is. Like if it's Royal Mail, if you're not in, they'll be really sensible about what they do, like leaving it with the neighbour, for example. But if it's some parcel delivery companies, they just leave it in a puddle in front of the front door in the wet or whatever, or put it in the bin that's about to be emptied, or you know, things like that. So so he wanted me to be in, but they both came after I got back, and he'd ordered me a new hard drive because mine's filling up again with videos, and he'd also ordered himself this book that I was talking about earlier, and then he'd ordered himself some empty pans for his watercolours, because he likes to put he likes pans of watercolour, you know, the solid blocks sort of thing, but he refills them because it's much cheaper to buy watercolour in a squirty tube. So what he does is he refills the pan with the tube and then leaves it to dry for a while, and then it just is the same as using a pan. So he bought some spares so that he could do some refills and leave them drying while he was using up the one before, sort of thing. So I had those from Jackson's Art, and then I got a lovely gift from somebody, which was really, really kind. I was very, very lovely, which I will show you. I won't show you it all together, but I'll show there's some new pencils and some new pens, so I shall be reviewing those. They may have already come out because videos aren't always in a good order. This is my Jelly Roll 8. I'm going to go around the stars because I've done that in every picture. And he also got another parcel. Oh, hard drive book and Jackson's, yes, and I got my parcels. So we had a lot of posts. That was rather nice. And yeah, it was good. My son, we're eating later tonight because my son's at uni, sorry. I'm trying to work out where else to put some white, but I don't think I want anywhere else. So we had a late lunch, so my son was like, we need to eat late because we've got to wait till 6. I was like, yeah, you're right. But I was reading something and doing something anyway, so that was fine. But this is my first bit of video for today, but I'm going to go and I'm going to make another one straight after. So you'll have to tune in tomorrow to find out if there's anything else exciting to share with you. But thank you for watching today. I do hope that you have a really super day, and happy colouring.